appliances, total control.
Welcome to a cleaner, greener world with Ecos Cleaning Supplies. Are you tired of harsh chemicals and seeking a sustainable solution for your home? Ecos is here to help. A range of eco-friendly cleaning products is not only kind to the environment, but also tough on dirt. Made with plant-derived ingredients and free from dyes and parabens, our products are safe for your family and the planet. Whether it's sparkling floors, hand soap, dish detergent, spotless counters, or laundry that smells like a fresh breeze, Ecos has you covered. Switch to Ecos today and experience the joy of clean living. Find us at your local store, Do It Center, Shaba, and Tara Eco Supplies, or visit www.taraeco.com. Ecos Cleaning Supplies. Clean consciously. Hi, I'm Carolina, and I am the host of Sincerely Carolina, a series of educational conversations about current social issues with local and international experts. Make sure you tune in every Saturday on Cool FM from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Bye! Happy Saturday! I hope you had a good week. Sakit tame tataon si Mang Kartiko. So, mita espero ko ba make good use of the off or off days. Mina sa ting off dos. Misago ting ni boss ko no to ting ninggong. Pero every mita espero ko basta well rewarded for working on this day. Happy Saturday once again. Mita espera ko was a weekend plans, the fun and the exciting. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. So for those of you who are celebrating Mother's Day, mita espera ko basta excited. Tanto ko basta preparations ta well underway. Anto paisunan ko no to celebrate Mother's Day. Mita espera ko porting peaceful anto somewhat relaxing day tomorrow. Give yourself space to feel whatever you gotta feel. Anto it's okay pa portagis shut off but telefong mayang to maybe not go too much on social media if it's triggering. It's okay. And to remember, you don't have to like everybody's picture and stuff like that. Misako dori social media mita senti opihende feels like they have to be like overly nice. You do not have to. I promise you nobody's gonna be angry at you if you don't like their Mother's Day pictures. Just wanted to say that because it is a tough day for some people, and so I think we should acknowledge that as well. So by all means, ayon sa papya un tiki dia topiko, not necessarily Mother's Day, pero sa si basta follow me ayin na riba Instagram, nasa hasi un poll, ay kliki ko taman tough topics ko hende the wish ng papya ko ng mayor ng kunang mama ng specifically, of course ang kunang wish ko ng papya na without mas young, mas rimpang. So sabay papya un tiki di ay kliki tipo di kos ng aki anto all in all yung importansya di ting open communication with parents. Just bilaga amigas introduce si Submiss, pero before I continue I want to say thank you to my awesome sponsors obviously who make Sincerely Carolina possible. I appreciate you so much. Thank you to La Roche, to Ecos, to Pringles, and to Total. By the way, nasa sino Mother's Day giveaways, as you know. So, meron sting pro may winner to being busko su gift. And to based on today's episode. So, make sure ko ba tune in. No sabay hasi otro giveaway. And to say tabay ta giveaway di La Roche Posay. I was there when they picked the stuff, and it's very nice. Tur biyaha ko mita haya giveaways. Mita man I want this too. And we just gotta be supposed to. I do not get all the stuff that you get. I just want to clear that up. But I do wish I did though. Pero si, just me just gotta be supposed to stay tuned. Si baka participate in this giveaway. And of course, you can re-listen this. Si bota catching this episode right now. And basa ko puno porque ating auto off puno porque Radio Sandy the whole time. It's okay. No sa riba Facebook, YouTube, di Cool FM, Sincerely Carolina. Anto si buko no por escucha awit. Tamita okay. Por escucha riba jab Mars. Riba po favorite podcasting platform. Isu video riba YouTube, Facebook. So I just wanted to say that, and yeah, I'm gonna let my guest introduce herself, and if I remember anything else, I will come back. It seems like doing this every week is not enough until, All right. So, nos tingkinan ko nos ang hende ko no to Sincerely Carolina. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, sis. Kunta.
Bong, kata ko ba?
I'm
fine, thank you.
Yes, I'm so happy you are here. I know it's early for some people, but I'm happy you are here.
It's a pleasure.
So, Nicole, tell us who you are, why you're here today, or just tell us anything you want to tell us about yourself.
Who am I?
A bunch
Tricky
of
question.
things, but
You know,
tell us what you want to tell us.
I always get awkward with introduction because for me it's like, oh gosh, self-promotion. You're doing the most. So I'm gonna keep it
Girl.
simple.
Not you don't
girl.
have to keep it simple. Why you have to keep it simple? Tell us all that Nicole is
All
and
the conscious
does.
levels of the Nicole experience. My name is Nicole Godett, and I'm representing San Nicolas. No, just kidding. I am an author, social worker, mother of two, founder of Empowerment Queen. As of I don't know when, I'm not only focusing on women, but I do enjoy my male clients and friends, wherever and however I can help them. What else? I mean, I'm very outspoken. I am fun, if I should say so myself.
Yes.
I'm hella fun.
Yes. And I mean, you are also very present in the online world. And what I mean
Am I?
is, yeah, especially on Facebook. I mean, you share thoughts, you share stories. And so I feel like those are all things that, you know, add to who you are and the personality that you bring and everything that you do. Which is also why you're here today.
So sweet.
Nicole, so, you know, I reached out because we have similar experiences in the sense that, you know, we come from backgrounds where we have we had very open relationships with our parents, especially our moms. You know, we get to talk about a lot of stuff. And I think that also translates into our very loud personalities, right?
So true. So true. So true.
But that seems to be not the norm, you know.
Unfortunately.
Yes, it's a
Unfortunately.
very cultural thing too.
Yeah.
You know, the power distance between parents and children tend to be, you know, like a very authoritarian relationship where, you know, parents, which they are the ones that take care of the family and, you know, they set the rules. There's very little room for discussion, but it also translates into like everyday type of conversations and discussions because there is no bond, or the bond seems to be, you know, very, I want to say almost like on a professional level. Like
Yeah,
this
it's
is,
cordial.
yes.
Yeah, it's cordial. Like
Right?
respectful and cordial. Like you're talking to your boss.
Uh-huh.
It's just, you know? Yeah. Sad.
And I have met people who have like, I want to say, more open conversations with their boss that they have ever had with like their parents, right?
Oh, wow.
Or and I don't think they even acknowledge it as it being something that is weird, or I think is weird. I mean, of course, if that's what you know and if that's your norm, it's not weird. But it just seems to be like, you know, the relationship between a child and a mom is a distant one. So I want to ask you to start.
Questions.
Yes, you have two girls, right? And I mean, you have been sharing conversations.
Lots of conversations.
Lots of conversations on social media, which I think, you know, a lot of them are funny and cute, but a lot of them are also very interesting. As someone who doesn't have a child, you know, and I do work with children and I am around children. Sometimes it's funny, but also interesting to see where maybe, you know, a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old's brain is at the moment. Things that, you know, generally we might not think children are thinking about or talking about, and then you create that light to, you know, let other people know that in any case you are having those conversations with your children. That means that maybe other children of their ages might also be thinking about that stuff, but also people who do not have kids, to be conscious that, you
These are
know,
conversations that should be had.
yes, right? And it might also create like a moment of reflection and be like, I have never talked about stuff like that with my parents, you know, not at 6, but definitely not at 25, not at 30. So I think that's also a very interesting thing, that you sharing those conversations does. So can you tell us a little bit about, why you decided to start sharing these things and what you have felt this has done, for your community, but also, for yourself?
I think it all started with me. So my upbringing and then the person that I am. Very quickly, I noticed that others would not be so vocal and would not have that safe space to be themselves. And then, of course, I used to be looked or frowned upon as a spoiled kid because I'm an only child. And then it was like, no, of course, because, it was just you and your mom. But it's not only that, it's just my complete circle, it's my complete tribe that always gave me that space to be vocal, and they would ask me my opinion, It would not be like, Nicole, we're doing this, but like, what do you think? Or can you vote on this? Or so I always had an opinion. So for me, it was just very regular that if I have something to say, I would say it. And maybe I would be corrected on the grammar, but not necessarily as to, you're being rude and you're being disrespectful. So very quickly, again, going to colegio, and then you get different children of your age group, and you're like, okay, but why are you not speaking up? Or why are you shying away from certain conversations? And then, of course, I started becoming the big sister. So, like, I would be like, no, you cannot talk to Carolina like that, And fast forward to Empowerment Queen, it became something on a bigger platform because then I started working, and you get different friends, and then you're seeing that you're still being the vocal one. You're still being the big sister, or let's say in Uptown English, the rowdy one. Because, yes, I'm not going to allow anyone to do anything shady around me and not speak up, which then transferred to me being on Facebook, and then now speaking up on my community when I feel that I have something to say. Not because we have Facebook and everything else at our fingertips, that means that we can say everything. So I do sometimes think.
Yeah.
But then sometimes
Good
I'm
to know.
so upset that it just comes out.
Yeah.
So then the moment, of course, like when I found out I'm becoming a mom, I was like, you know what, this is something I'm gonna remain. But then again, my kids grew up in the same tribe, so automatically they will be, supportive in being themselves. And sometimes I think my aunt will get upset with me because she's like, you know what, let her speak. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't mind her speaking, but she has to understand boundaries.
Yeah.
She has to understand that, you can't say it that way. You have to say it in a different way. It's the same opinion or it's the same concern, but it's still in a respectful tone.
Yeah.
So that is something sometimes I go back and forth with my aunt because she's like, no, let her speak. And I mean, I had the same freedom from her.
Yes.
And now I'm seeing what my mom experienced when I was a kid. But I think that is where it stemmed from. Like, just giving them the space to be themselves so that tomorrow when I'm no longer here or in spaces where I'm not present, that I know that they're okay by speaking up or speaking up for someone else, because that is something that I always promote. It's not only about you, but it's about others. If you see something that is not right, if something is triggering you, speak up. Maybe you don't have to blurt it out, but find someone that you feel safe with, and express your concerns or express your whatever it may be. And that is sometimes, we go back and forth because I have complete different personalities as girls. One is very, I don't want to say shy, but she's more of an introvert.
Okay.
And then my youngest is just, I think she's a combination of my mom and I, and then quadruple it. So she's just out there. She's just
like, I got opinions.
She's
and I'm
like a drag
them.
queen on steroids. Yeah, that is best describe Nima.
And those are the conversations that we usually get to read and see on Facebook.
Yes. Naya started off like that, but I think with age, she's a teenager now, and the conversations are there, but they're in a different manner.
Yeah.
It's more about letting her have her space and letting her, find her voice. Because sometimes she would be like, you know what, Ma, I didn't like this and this and this, but I don't know what to say. And then it's like, okay, but maybe you can say it this way. Or sometimes you don't even have to have the right words. Just by saying something, you're releasing it. And then from there, you can go and have that conversation. And then I have the small one that is like, oh, say it in a nice way. Or hold on a minute.
Yes.
You can't say that to people's face. You know, be respectful. And yeah.
But you said a couple of things that, and I always say this, we have small chit chat before the episode start, and we talked about this, right? It's and you said something very interesting, that there is like no guidebook to parenting. The only closest thing to a guide is whatever you experience. And then you go into parenting and you can choose to either build on that, you know, take away what you liked and then adjust some things, or decide to completely try something different, right? And be like, I'm going to try something different. And I was telling you that, you know, I too grew up with very open parents that gave me a lot of space. And when you're younger, or in my case, in any case, when I was like a younger kid, that was the norm, right? Because, I mean, I don't know anything else. I do have siblings, but they're much older. So I came after a while. I grew up like an only child. So it's very funny because I feel like my siblings have siblings, but I'm an only child. Like, you know, they have siblings. I don't.
You don't. It's okay. It's okay. It's your truth.
And you can totally see it in personality as well. Although we do have, like, in some extent, like, you know, some similar personalities, you do see the difference of them growing up together, which, you know, they had like each other to talk with and bounce off ideas. I had my parents. So then that pushes that as well. But they made conscious choices with their children to be different. And my parents, I have mentioned this before, you know, they're immigrants, so I didn't grow up with like close family anywhere nearby. But every time that I would go on vacation, I just like had culture clash immediately every single time. And, you know, it was hard especially for my mom, because, you know, she would have family members say like, oh, you know, your daughter's so rude, like she's always like, you know, and
just because you're opinionated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was like, growing up, I would be like a little confused because I was like, what do you mean this is not normal? You know, my mom would have to like remind every single time that we went on vacation, remind like my aunts and my grandma, like you cannot, you know, like hit this child at any point. Like even if you get upset with her or whatever, if for whatever reason I am not around, you need to call me. And then, you know, for the sake of making things easier for her, I guess, anytime where people would try to push her and be like, oh, why did you become so weak or whatever, she would use my dad as like a reason why. My dad's white, like Dutchman white, right? So she would immediately go and say, because I married a white guy and white people do not hit their kids, right? She would use that as an excuse. And growing up, I would be like, so my indigenous family, I guess, does that. You know? But I guess the white family doesn't do that, you know.
Okay.
But you create kind of like an idea, but then you grow up and you understand that it's culture. So at school, at a later age, I had a conflict with that because I started seeing kids around me, you know, have very different relationships with their parents, where, you know, they would like get beat up and stuff like that. And or they would say, like you mentioned, right, like they would tell you things that they were stuck with, and I'm like, but didn't you tell your mom, or didn't you you know, tell your dad, or didn't you say like I don't like that or I don't agree with that? And they're like, I can't do that. And then the older you get, you know, become teenager. And then I also had like this thing where eventually you become friends with people who have similar upbringings because it tends to not work out otherwise, right? But I would always think it's so weird with somebody who would be like, I'm not even going to ask my mom if I can come. And I would be like, that's why, you know? And they're like, I just know it's going to be a no. And I'm like, okay, maybe you understand patterns and that's a good thing. But also, how can you like not have a conversation about this, you know, with your parents? And then when we did the poll on my Instagram and I saw the responses of conversations that people wish they had with their parents, with their moms, or at a younger age, I'm like, Whoa. You know, because I'm like, some of these things, I'm like, I've had these in passing. I remember somebody said something about, like, maybe talk a little bit more about, like, family histories and, like, and I'm like, because I didn't grow up with my extended family, I feel like that is maybe a conversation I would want to have more, so I understand them better. But then there were other things where I'm like, like, when did you have these conversations with your parents, right? Like, stuff about, like, relationships, or stuff about, like, dreams and career and stuff like that.
Some people just never had them.
Right?
And it's not even like if it happened, some people just, it never happened. Never, ever. And because, like how we said, like, they see the relationship as cordial, as in, you know what, I am forever grateful for what you did to me. Or for me, and that's about it.
Yep.
It's just, that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't explain it because I haven't experienced it, but I do know many people that have that, and sometimes they can be very open, a very open person, and then you would be like, but just go talk to your mom or go talk to your dad, and then you see the shift, and I'm like, oh no, okay, sorry, okay, let's find a different approach. And I think it's sad. I don't want to sound rude, but I really think it's sad because one, as a child, and I think now as a professional, I find out that children are not aware that their parents go through stuff.
Of course.
And I don't know if it's because parents do not want them to know that they've been through stuff, or it's just they feel that, you know what, I've been through it. It's communicacion, and I'm okay, while they're not okay, and then that transferred to the child, and then it goes to generation and generation. I mean, on Instagram, I'm very into spirituality and astrology and such, and then you always hear about breaking generational curses, and then it sounds like a huge word, like you have a hex on your family. What is that?
Yeah.
But it's basically something like this: not being able to talk to your parents, not being able to show emotions because for whatever reason you're not allowed to, and those are generational curses, because if you don't do something about it now,
it just continues.
You may or may not pass that on to your kids, grandkids, and it continue going. And I don't think we sit still and really reflect on how much impact this has on you as a person, and then you within relationships, and that is any type of relationship, and then again as a parent. And we never sit still and ask ourselves these questions, because everything, like, we were so quick to say, it's a taboo here and it's a stigma, but are you willing to break them? Are you willing to, confront them? Because we're talking about the Aruban culture, but I would even go extra and say Caribbean culture, because again, I have a very Caribbean background. And there's certain things you just don't do or accordingly. But then again, my mom, she was very open with her mom. So I do not know how my grandma, because I never met her, but I do not know where she got so comfortable in, being communicative, etc. But I'm thankful for that, because that was passed on, and then that's why I have such a vocal family. Because we can talk everything. Like, we have a group chat. Now, mind you, this is a group chat like ages 36 to like 75.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it's like my friend group chat, like my girls type of thing. So it's just this is going on and blah blah blah, and then of course maybe you get like a long text, but it's a conversation that you can have, and not that, oh my God, I'm afraid to say this because what would happen. Like, I never had that.
Yep.
In contrary, I would maybe abstain from saying something because I know it would get like vicious. Not towards me, but towards to someone who aren't me maybe. So like if I say like, Carolina did something, it's like, who is this Carolina? We have to meet her. So with that, I think that is the only reason I would maybe not say something, or maybe I would say it in a different way, because poor Carolina, I don't want to harm you. But not that, oh my God, I would feel shamed or no. And I'm thankful for that, and I hope everyone who is listening can really reflect on this and try to see, you know what is something that I wish I had, and actively work on it. And it's not only about being a parent, it's just in your relationships, because again, we always go and think about, hey, you know what, when I'm a parent, this and this and this, but your upbringing has a lot of influence on who you are as a person, the whole complete person.
Yep.
And who you are as a person has different roles, and that is the professional, that is the friend, that is the partner, that is the godmother, father, whatever.
Exactly.
And so you really have to reflect on that, because again, little things can hint and come back to haunt you, and maybe you were not even aware of it.
Exactly. And that goes, back to what we were talking about before as well. Like, it translates into your character, because like you said, you're a whole person. It's not like, you switch on and switch off, parts of you. Yeah.
This head and put this head.
Exactly, right? But you go into work and then you see that, and that's the thing. I always try to rationalize things. That's how my brain works. And, from an emotional standpoint, I hope that things that we have been saying already triggers like, oh, okay, that is a good reason. But also from a rational point of view, like if a child grows up, not being confident that their opinion matters, that they're, what they have to say, might be worth listening to, or that they are allowed to simply have differences of opinions without having to justify them.
Yep.
They become these, or they can, of course they don't have to, but they can become,
there's a possibility.
Yeah, submissive people in all areas of their lives, which sadly research shows over and over again that people who go into like abusive cycles, or people who do not stand up for their rights at work and become like overworkers and stuff like that, tend to have some sort of that at home as well, where they do not have certainty in who they are. Maybe they never really thought about, how many adults don't even think about like what their own morals and values, like people will say those two words all of the time, like valor lang, moral lang, and then when you actually ask them, but what are yours, and they're like, valor lang, moral lang, and I'm like, no, which ones?
Yeah.
And then they're like, like it doesn't even click, just because they didn't get the space to think about, whether do I agree with them, where do they come from, is it just passed down, did we as a family decide these are going to be ours, etc.
But we don't have such conversations.
No.
Just to tap into what you just said, in my mind I was like, because amongst my friends, whether the age, because I have friends that vary very much in age, so I have way older friends as well, and then they would be like, I admire you because you're so strong, and I'm always considered the strong friend, and then they will say things like, you don't understand. So whether they go through something and it's like, you won't understand because you don't know, like, and indeed, I may not know to a certain extent, because I was not exposed to that. Like I was exposed to the moment someone someone speaks to me in a certain tone, I'm allowed to get up and leave. I'm allowed to say something. And some people did not have that upbringing. So then when you find yourself in a relationship, whether it's a toxic one or whatever it is that is unhealthy, very quickly, for me, it's like, deuces, bye, ciao, pescao. But for others, it's like, oh no, maybe in some way, indirectly, I already am used to this.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And
let me hang
norm.
on a bit. Or some people see that as a form of love,
Yeah.
because that is the love that they received as a kid. So it's very difficult. So that's why I always tell people, in one way, you can be judgmental towards others in the sense that, why is he or she sticking around or whatever. But in the other way, that's why seeking healing, and that's why having such conversations is so important, because yes, I do not understand your upbringing and I do not understand why you stay, but if you're so unhappy, then you should start digging and find out why there's such a great need to stay, and why is there like this feeling of, but I can't do anything different. This is all I have.
Yep.
Because again, the choice is on you. Like, you have that choice. You can make a decision. So sometimes I really get mad, and my friends see it and they were like, yeah, you will never understand. To a certain extent, I don't, because I would blame me then, like indirectly, because you're around me so much or so long to know that there is something different.
Yeah.
Because I am so different.
Exactly.
So then, tap into that. Like, you can't get my upbringing anymore, but at least you can, like how I said, seek healing, find a professional, have this conversation, and really figure out where is this stemming from.
Exactly.
Because it's not healthy for you to remain in a situation where you don't feel heard, you don't feel this, you don't feel that, and not do anything about it. And we are not aware that it stems from our upbringing.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You might not necessarily know where it stems from, but you
there's something somewhere over there.
Yeah, but most people know when something is off and when something's not right. And I was talking to to my coach about this too, because we were talking about choices. And we were talking about of course, trauma can explain a lot of behavior, a lot of choices, but it doesn't have to justify it. Especially when you're an adult, like you said, there's silver lining to everything. And I always say this, the internet can be very horrible, but it also allows these conversations to be heard, right, and to be had. And I say there's so much information out there that you can realize that it's not saying that one way of thinking or one way of being is necessarily better than the other, but the fact that you are able to listen to different ways of being and ways of rationalizing, ways of thinking, behaving, should and hopefully is a trigger for you to, realize okay. But I think what happens is that we do not like to be confronted. No. And usually what this means is not only do you have to confront yourself and maybe things that you have done that you maybe realize that, that thing was bad, and maybe, I should ask for forgiveness for this part, but also, if your parents are still around, you
have to confront them as
that
well.
You might have to confront them and have these conversations. And this is hard. I can understand it, right? And I can understand it in the sense that I do have had, although I have, but I do have had hard conversations with my parents where, I know, because I know them so well, that I am going to say something that they're not going to like. Yeah. But it is important that my relationship with them is more important than that moment of maybe anger or shame or disappointment, right? Because hopefully you have built a good enough relationship where we will get through it. And it might mean that we're upset for a little bit, or it might mean that it's going to cause discomfort. But, if you do not have them, then you cannot process them and maybe ever understand it. Because some conversations you can't even have anymore because if your parents are not here. Yeah. Right? And that is something that my mom has shared with me, and I always thought, I wish I could have, this dramatic moment with her as well, but I don't have anything that's so dramatic to have with her. But, like I mentioned, she comes from a background, my moms have indigenous and have Spanish, so they were very conflicting cultures going on in their household as well. Which caused a lot of pressure, etc. And I'm so appreciative that she explains these things to me, because it also, sometimes people say your mom's kind of hippie vibes or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably a rebellious act against all of this stuff going on. She went to boarding school and all of these things, and there was also a shift. My mom comes from a very large family, so there are 10 siblings, and she's from the older cohort where the grandparents were still alive and they had a say. So they went to boarding school. But at the younger ones, the grandparents, either one of them already died or were too old to have that grasp on the grandchildren. So they went to regular schools. They stayed at home. They weren't sent away for most of the year, etc. So within even her siblings, they have a difference. And my mom always felt like her mom never apologized for not standing up for them and stuff. And I remember she was and then one day I just decided, we were on vacation, and then one of her younger siblings that was part of the younger cohort, and she was I just decided to sit them down and have this conversation. And then her mom was I don't remember any of this. right? And my mom was like, let me remind you.
Yeah. But which is possible because
Right?
if she felt like her back was against the wall, that is
Yes.
not something that she wants to go back to.
No, so
You
your
know?
brain shuts
Yeah,
that
your
down,
brain shuts it
right?
down. People do not believe this, but it does. It does.
does.
And we always feel, because when you say the word trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, not only, again, as a social worker, but when I do workshops also as Empowerment Queen, when you say the word trauma, everyone goes like,
Like it's like this big monster.
like, no, what? No, me? Trauma, huh? What? Trauma is just whatever it is that happened that for some reason you did not get to comprehend in its entire state, or you didn't get to voice your opinion. So it can be anything that made you uncomfortable.
Yep.
That is basically trauma.
Yep.
And if you didn't get to talk about it, if you didn't get to confront it, if you didn't get to let it go, it stays there.
Exactly.
So trauma is not like, oh my God, it has to be like this huge event.
For some people it is, and
Some
then for
people
others
it is,
it's not.
It's not, and that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. But according to us, it just have to be something big.
Exactly.
It has to be like the nastiest thing that could happen to someone. While it can be something very small. Like I always give like an example, like being a kid and someone taking a toy away from you. Like sometimes you can be like, oh, but there's other toy, but you have no idea how that child,
They may carry it.
all
the way to
feels
adulthood.
about that toy, and then they can carry it, and then they can have trust issues because somebody took away something very valuable to me,
Yep.
and it all stems back from that one toy.
Exactly.
And we can, again, I can even say like, one toy like boo-hoo, but it had its importance.
Yep. And that's the thing. And it's if you don't have those conversations, then you also do not allow the other person to maybe also explain themselves, right? So going back to the story of my mom, she had this conversation, and at first, like, her mom, and maybe like you said, her brain shut down, and she probably can't even remember the specific things that she might have done, etc. But then my mom got a time to speak to her and tell her what hurt her, but also for her mom to explain what her situation was. And although my mom had some understanding, obviously, from growing up and understanding that grandparents were involved, etc., it gave her a moment to be like, okay, I understand why, like, I do not agree with it, and I am
but I do
choosing to do
understand.
different,
Yeah.
and I understand why, and I understand that you did the best that you could. With what you had, or like with the situation that you were in. And my mom always says that, like, having that conversation, she says that it was just one conversation of the many conversations they had, but where she intentionally decided this is what we're going to talk about, changed her relationship with her mom as well, where when my grandma passed away, etc., she didn't have any feeling of like resentment towards her, or like there are things that I wish I had conversations about.
That was part of her healing.
Yes.
And that's why it was so important to have this conversation, or these conversations.
But it took her up until adulthood to be able to do that. Whereas I see my relationship with my mom, like, I can immediately tell her if she says something offensive, or if she says something that hurts me in any way, or does something, I'm like, I didn't like that.
But she
And
gave
this
you
is
that
why.
space.
Yes.
She gave you that
Yes.
space.
Yes.
And again, coming back to, this is why I have these conversations, to give them that space. And low-key, I get upset when they don't come to me, because I'm like, well, why is she not coming to me? Like, because if I have to compare my relationship with my mom, it was like, I think my relationship with my best friend now is, my mom was actually the kid, and I was more of the adult, because she was very explicit, and she was very just out there, and she would just say things, and I would be like, Ma, you can't do that. You can't say that. Ma, we're not, we're amongst others. Please. So
This
I
is
would
our
have
at-home behavior.
Yeah, that was always my personality with my mom. It was like, I was always like the civil one.
Yeah.
And so then now with Naya, for example, she's very much figuring out, and even though I'm aware of it, and that is it's the beauty and the complexity of being a parent. Like, I know about the phases that we go through, and I am so aware of it because this is my job. But yet it's difficult, because it's like, I would tell her dad, but why? I see something is bothering her, but why would she not come tell me? Like, am I a bad person?
Yeah.
And
but it's
when you
personalities too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she's her own person.
I know. I am totally aware of all of this. I know. I mean, this is textbook. But yet, I sit there and I'm like, but what is wrong with my baby? Like, why is she not telling me? Like, am I a bad mom? And when I came, you asked me, like, what is something like maybe I would not want to talk about? But then you never asked, like, what is something I really want to talk about?
Oh, because, I mean, we're going to do that. We're going to do that.
But now coming close to that is like the mom guilt. Because then all of a sudden I start like, oh my God, maybe I said something. Or maybe she tried to talk to me, but then I was so busy and I maybe didn't give her the space. And then I start, overthinking, because I'm a professional overthinker, by the way. I forgot to put that in my introduction.
Yes, I got one of those too.
I'm a professional overthinker.
Those
so
degrees.
then, of course, I start thinking about everything and anything, and I'm like, oh my God, but this is all because of me, and like and look at me, and I'm doing the radio, but then I can't. So I just go there. I really go there, and sometimes I can stay there for a while, because you're just trying to see, why certain things, or you're trying to make sense out of nonsense, but like I know, and like you said, that is her personality, that is who she is. And when she's ready, I know she would come and be like, Ma, and then I would hear it, and then I would be like, oh, that is what it was. Oh, okay,
makes sense.
Sorry. And then in my mind I was like, I told you, like, but hey, it happens.
But also understanding, that they're their own person, but you get to be your own person too. And that is also something that I think is kind of funny when, people are really raw about their children, and they'll literally say, like, they're going through a phase right now where I don't really like them, as persons, and that's okay too.
It's okay.
Because, it means that they were allowed to form their own identity.
To venture off.
Exactly. Right? And if anything, I would personally say, and I would tell my parents too, because once you realize how other, especially when I was a teenager, I was like, maybe you don't like what I'm doing right now or what I'm saying right now, but this is it. Right? Whereas to other children are being like super nice to their parents' faces, and they're complete different people, right?
Yeah.
And my mom is like, that's not an excuse, and I think it's funny, and of course, it's not an excuse, but now I can be, looking back and be like, I'm so grateful I was allowed to be whatever grungy teenager I was at the time. And, that I had the space and safety to express that. And also that because no matter what, you get to be different people, and, even at a younger age, you might say things that are generally your opinion and are generally how you feel about certain things that might not necessarily align with their views of things or their, feelings about things. And that's okay too, because we are people, and maybe there will come a day where one persuades the other to like change their mind on something, or maybe not, and that you're both allowed to have that. And I think that maybe a lot of people, because they're scared either way, as a parent or as a child, then they miss out on maybe having those
major things.
My parents and I will like dissect political issues to the point. So it's always funny because we also are speaking in different languages simultaneously. And we will sit and be speaking in like Dutch and Spanish, and then in English, because especially if we're seeing a news in like English or something, then we're gonna use that language too. And we will be dissecting something on like a very high,
Intense,
emotional level about the issue, and then be like, fine, like nobody was able to convince the other. And sometimes we are like, and then somebody will go like, I didn't think about it like that, and this is an interesting perspective, and now we will like go back to everyday life. And I remember the first couple of times that my husband experienced this, he was like, I don't understand what just happened. And he's like, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you just had like a very serious argument with your parents, and now everybody's fine. And I'm like, oh no, we didn't argue. We were just expressing our opinion on this political view or whatever. And then he's like, how do you get to do that and stuff? Because we're all like our own people, and we're allowed to express our views on things, and it's not personal attacks, it's not an attack on your personality, it's not an attack on your character. It's that we are allowed to be different people.
Yep.
My parents are allowed to be different people. Yes, they're together or whatever, but doesn't mean that they have to agree on everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that those are also things that you should talk to your children about, that that it's okay for you to have disagreements with like the other parent, that it's okay to have disagreements with like an aunt or whatever, because we're allowed to have difference of opinions. And then they might also get an experience of how you work through differences of opinions, work through challenges and disagreements, come together,
but also formulating your opinion, because it's one thing to have an opinion, but then it's another thing if you cannot express it, but also like come with facts to defend it. Because I think that is something that I learned as a child, that my mom would give me the space that you can disagree with me, but then I need at least a why.
Same.
I need a why. Like, tell me why. And I would be like,
Sometimes
and then
it's
you
just
will comment because I don't want to.
Exactly.
That is not the why. You have to really think about it. So when I am in conversation and people would be like, oh, you should have become a lawyer because you always have. No, but this is something that I learned from very young. Like and this is something like, it could be something simple as a chore. Like okay, go get the dishes, like do the dishes. I'm like, no ma. But I just can't say no ma. I would have to be like, no ma, because I have say pay, so I would not do that right now, but I will do it before I go to bed. Or like, something like, but I just can't say no.
Exactly. Same.
So then you learn to formulate and express yourself, and and gather information to help you out, play your deal, something. And then when you get older, of course, with all the external knowledge that you get, then of course you better formulate your opinion.
And it's just how you move through life then as well, right? It helps you be more self-assured as well, because another thing that my dad did, and he did not, and he still does not shy away from it, like if I will give a reasoning behind something, and he will know very quickly when it's like something that I truly rationalize or it's just coming out of emotion or whatever. And he will be like, really, like, let me, and if it's something that he can look up, he will look it up. And I will always be like, ugh. And it's so funny because I find myself doing the absolute same thing with people. But that keeping you on your toes is very healthy too, right?
Exactly.
Because it's it's not that he's like calling me out and being like, oh, you're saying,
checking you, making sure that
did you really think this through? And it has given me a quality in life where I am very opinionated, and I will say my piece about things, but it also makes me think twice.
Fact check.
Yes, for myself, just for myself. Like, do I really have an opinion about this, or is it just a feeling right now because maybe the conversation was already heated, or maybe the topic was already heated, but did I generally formulate something, or am I just gonna jump in for the sake of jumping in? So it has also made me somebody who's more analytical and think about, like, am I gonna put myself in the situation, yes or no? Whereas to a lot of people find themselves in arguments that they shouldn't have been in the first place because they jumped on that whim or that feeling. And
we see that daily on socials, and this comes back to, we are all allowed to have an opinion.
By all means.
No one is telling you not to. But be aware that once you put it out there, you can't take it back. And then to a certain extent, you have to know what you're talking about. Like, you have to have your somewhat research done and be like, this is this. You can't just say, because I said this because I feel so, and that is it. Like,
and not
my
only that,
job. I mean,
but then you can't be mad if somebody like decides to dissect your wrong opinion. Right?
Exactly.
It's like, so I don't know. I like talking local politics a lot because it's very sensitive. But we all know what happened.
I'm done. I'm done. And I always say, when my mom was a politician, And then, you know, everyone like sees that for me, and I'm like, no, because
I don't want to do that.
no. I think my first week, something really bad would happen, and then I would be arrested or something like that. I just see like it getting very grim.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that topic, it's like at this point, like at this present point, I'm over it. I'm over it on so many levels. To the ignorant, and I have to add ignorant, because I mean I know better.
Yeah.
Somebody who loves history and was totally into our constitution and always started and whatever. But I am so ignorant to the point that if I could like unregister myself, travel and come back afterwards, and whatever happened. But then at least I didn't have like a
contribution to whatever
to the craziness. I would, and I remember having this conversation with my aunt, and she was like, "You are crazy. Don't ever tell anyone this. Like, you're not my niece." And I'm like, you know what? Because I'm so over it.
Exactly.
I am so over it to so many levels.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wish everyone luck. I really do. I mean, I wish them luck because it's just crazy.
But I think that, that is something that we do not talk about enough with, like, especially parents as well. But, like last week, for example, it was a hot topic, or, a hot topic locally. I don't necessarily think that the topic itself is a hot topic, but anyways. And a lot of people shared so many opinions and so many point of views, And I was laughing because at some point I said,
let me start.
we're not going to talk about, like, specifics or names or opinions. No. But I was laughing because I was watching something, and I was talking to my husband about it, and I was like, I'm so annoyed because I'm seeing all these opinions come true. I'm listening to all of these opinions come true, but like the foundation of how did you get there, and why do you think that opinion should have like value in legislation kind of thing. And then somebody came up, and I was talking to my husband about it, and I'm like, you know what? This person really made me understand how they got to the wrong opinion. And I say the wrong opinion because I don't agree with their opinion, but I could really respect and appreciate that. And I think that has to do with, formation. And formation could be, again, through childhood. Like maybe you already got that, and that is something, but you can learn that later in life too. And it was so nice to see that, like it doesn't matter where maybe their upbringing came from or what their opinion was. The fact that I could feel that if we were in a one-on-one conversation, even though I would not agree, at least I would understand that they put some work into,
formulating their opinion.
Yes.
And, you can respect it.
And making it make sense too.
You can respect it. I can respect that.
Yeah.
I think as a parent, it's very, you have to be aware that you are passing on information. And as a child, I am also aware that I can learn, but I also have the ability to unlearn. And I think that is something that the masses, and I'm talking about worldwide, because I don't even want it to seem like, here it's worldwide, that we are not aware that we can unlearn stuff. You get information. You as a child, you are a sponge. Whether you want to or not, you are a sponge. So you are just constantly absorbing everything and anything. Now, mind you, and when I say everything and anything, I mean like everything and anything. The good, the bad, the ugly, and
everything
and the in between. But that also means that as you get older, you can be like, oh no, I'm not gonna do this like you expressed about your mom. Like, I've been there and it was not comfortable. It was not a nice space. So I am not gonna do this to my kids.
And
even
also
if
tell
you say
them,
it
right?
and it doesn't happen, but at least somewhere that this is not something you want for your kids, for your family.
Yep.
And for the love of me, I do not understand how we are in 2024 where information is legit as our fingertips,
fingers.
like right there. I can literally, like, if I can't spell a word, I can, like, Caro, let me just this is the word I'm looking for, and not sound stupid, because I educated myself in that second.
Yep, exactly.
But then no, we choose not to. We just choose not to. But also, and then for me, like me personally, this is me. And then for me, then I can't have this conversation, because if you are not willing to even do the research, then why am I even bothering? Like, why am I going against my sanity and my peace to go and dive into your circus and your monkeys? I'm not doing it.
It's emotional labor.
And it sounds, and sometimes people tell me, you know what? Yeah, you don't have to be so rude. It's not about rude, but I am at a space in my life.
I have no obligation.
I am not tolerating the crazies. I'm not doing it. And again, I'm gonna say the crazy because this is for me.
Yeah.
What I find crazy, you may not find crazy, and that is, I respect that.
Yep.
But if I feel like this is not gonna happen, it's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
And I'm not gonna force myself to do anything to even try. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not, because you did not do your research and you did not do your part. But then expect me, because listen, as an overthinker, I dive in. I lose sleep
over things. Same.
To get something, to try to connect the dots so I can be able to have certain conversations. And then you are gonna come like, I slept 12 hours and I'm good and I didn't do anything.
But you know what?
I'm not doing it. No. I'm not. It's like when you have, like, a presentation and you didn't do the work, and then, like, we had group presentations, and then there's that one person that didn't do anything, and they're just there and they're just lying through the teeth, and then I'm like, we're doing this, and I lost sleep. I did this, I did that. I lost my sanity for this presentation. So I learned that from school, and I'm bringing it towards adulthood, and I'm not doing it.
And like you said, you're allowed to change your opinions. You're allowed to figure things out, and that's the thing too, that children see that, right? Children will, like you said, they're sponges, and they will see you say things that are nonsense, and their brain will say, oh, you get to go through life saying nonsense stuff and getting away with it, right? And there will come a point in their life where maybe they did not see their parents not get away with it, and then they will go through that hardship and be like, but what do you mean, right? And have complete cognitive dissonance because their brain is not making sense right now. So it's so important too that, have hard conversations. When you did something wrong, explain it to your children, go back,
They
yesterday,
remind me. They would be like, Ma, like,
let them do that,
you were
right?
not making sense. Like, what was that?
Yep.
And I would be like, I know, but like, let me be. And then, and then you'll have that conversation about that. And then it's like, you know what? That is a good thing to have. Like, call people out.
Yep. In a respectful way. Families get to determine what that means for them.
Yeah.
But have that space. And also that you're not supposed to know everything, and that's okay too.
And I don't. I tell my youngest, because she's
grab
very
your phone, look it up,
inquisitive, and she will ask me 100 questions in like a second, and I would be like, you know what, Nima, not for bad, not to be rude, but you legit have a phone in your hand. You're on TikTok.
Look
Google it. Google.
I will have those
something
responses.
that you don't understand, then come to me, and then we can have this conversation. But you're not going to ask me something that you can legit.
Is it Googleable? Then Google it first. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? And you can have that, but also if your child comes and tells you something or asks you something, don't make up stuff just for the sake of.
Let's figure it out. Let's do it. Let's find out.
Nicole, I look at the time, and we had an awesome conversation, and it just flies by. Wow. I know. But
we have so much to talk about.
Right? But you have a book, and I have not had a chance to read it. I think that I know. I will get to it. But I think that it's very beautiful anytime that we have local authors and that you can put like real stories into writing. So I appreciate you for doing that effort. I have a sister who writes. I know that it's work. I know that it costs money. I know that it's a process. So I just want to say that I truly understand your process and that I'm proud of you, obviously, but also that a lot of other people should be happy that we have people locally who are taking those steps to create content that is a little bit more relatable and that is ours. I want to say so thank you for that. So if you're looking maybe for little gifts for moms, I would say that might be a good gift.
Yes, surely.
So Nicole, anything else that you want to leave us with, like something that you want to stick in people's brains, but also where can people find you online if they want more information on you, on your book, and just like all of Nicole?
I think on this topic, like I have like two things to say. Like when it comes to motherhood, I feel like as a woman in general, you are allowed to celebrate this, and not necessarily because you're not a mom, because you didn't bear a child, that means that you're not a mother. Women are the backbones of our community, and somehow you have nurtured another person, you have loved another person to an extent where you were a mother. So I mean, like, give yourself that, and enjoy if that is something that you feel like. Because sometimes I feel like some, people just, or women feel like, this is not for me, and it is, because you are an aunt, you are a godmother, you are a friend, you are giving that a nurturing energy that for some people they didn't have it from their own mother, and then you came in there. So please celebrate it if you do celebrate it. And secondly, look, parenthood on a whole is trial and error. Any relationship across the board is about trial and error, and parenting is no exception to that. So be comfortable in who you are, and if you are not quite aware of where you are at in your journey, try to figure it out. Be open to seek healing, seek advice, whether it's coaching, whether it's therapy, whatever it can be to help you on that journey, because you can only be a better version of yourself to whoever is in that relationship with you, regardless of the role that you're in. So I think once you got that, it's not going to be like the easiest ride, because it's not. But at least it's a ride that you are contented with, and that, at the end of the day, you can be like, I really did my best, and not just saying it for saying its sake, like, this is the best I can do, but that you really put in the work, and your kids will see it, your partner will see it, your friends will see it, they will see the work that you put in.
Yep.
That is basically it. And I think as a parent, my kids see me pushing, they see me cry, they see me go through it, they see me losing it, that I can't even have words to express. And it's okay, because then they also see that I am human, and they see that,
life is
tough. Life is tough, having, the work home balance and all the in-betweens, it's tough, and it's okay.
Yep.
I think that is it.
Thank you for that. That is a very good giveaway. For any of you that might be crying right now, it's okay.
It's okay.
But I do hope that, this conversation resonated with you in some way, and that hopefully maybe this opens, a little doorway in your heart to have maybe tough conversations that you haven't had yet with your parents. We will continue on this vibe on next week's episode. We'll be talking with a psychologist on, the more like theoretical stuff of why these things are hard and what kind of impact they can have on children, on parents, on these type of relationships. Nicole, thank you so much.
Thank you for the invite, sis.
Yes. And, I will tag Nicole, and I already have on Zena Talks and Serial Carolinos. If you don't follow me, go check it out. You don't have to follow me. Maybe just check it out, whatever. But it's on there. I want to say thank you to my awesome sponsors. I appreciate you. Thank you for allowing me to talk to Nicole today about whatever we wanted to talk about. That is so nice. So thank you to La Roche-Posay, to Total, to Pringles, and to Ecos. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you again next week with more giveaways. So stay tuned. And please, if you are doing last minute errands right now, maybe because it's the only day you had to do these errands, just be patient, because just like you, there's a bunch of other people on the road trying to get gifts and going to the grocery store and doing whatever else. So be nice, be kind, and be patient. Please do not yell at retail workers. They too are doing their best to serve you and many other people. So just wanted to say that. Okay, make better choices. See you again next week. Bye. Hi, I'm Carolina, and I am the host of Sincerely Carolina, a series of educational conversations about current social issues with local and international experts. Make sure you tune in every Saturday on Cool FM from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Bye.